everyone, and welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio.
Oh, I didn't have the microphone plugged in. I'm sorry. I apologize. Hello, everyone. Welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every night at 8 p.m. Central. And tonight, I have one more time to discuss. I have one more topic to discuss with you regarding Micah Parsons. I know that we have talked about him a lot, but today, that it will be the last night maybe that I feature Micah Parsons in the show for a while because I don't want you to get tired about this topic. But hey, before we move on, we have to compare Micah Parsons' stats to the other two candidates in the Defensive Player of the Year race. We need to take a look at his numbers alongside TJ Watt's numbers, Myles Garrett's numbers, and we will reach a vote tonight on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime on who gets our vote for Defensive Player of the Year. I came into this process before looking at the numbers. I came into the process with an idea of who would get my vote. I came out of it with a different answer. So we'll get into it in tonight's prime time. Thank you guys for being here. What is up, burner account? Charlene Evans. People talking about the jerseys in the YouTube chat. Manny Ramos as well. Someone said the throwbacks are nice. I miss the throwbacks. They should be back, by the way, in 2022 after the NFL approved the rule about having a second helmet, which I always found a little bit dumb, the fact that this rule was in place in the first place. But maybe the throwbacks are coming back next year. What is up, Kenneth Fraser over on Facebook, Jay Cena as well in over here, been following for years. Hey, Jay, I appreciate it. I appreciate it and salute all the way to Monterrey, which actually, just a random comment before we start the show officially. For you guys who are in the U.S., if you guys don't know about this, Mexico has two professional football leagues, and they're competing with each other like in the old days in the NFL with the AFL and everything before the merger. And things are getting interesting. And Monterrey actually has a new team. And Monterrey has two teams for one for each of the leagues. And I was in the owners' meetings today for the second league that started and the one that I like the most personally. What is up, Richard, James, everyone? Let's start the show officially. I cannot wait to dive into these numbers and share them with you. So let's start the show officially. And before we do so, hit the like button, share the stream. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, let your friends know about Primetime. I'm excited about this one. Let's get to it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network with a lot more content coming your way throughout the entire season. Make sure you check out adcsports.com/Dallas, where you will find content not only about the Dallas Cowboys, but also about the Mavericks. If you're into basketball as well, make sure you check it out, adcsports.com/Dallas. We have an interesting show lined up tonight because we've been talking about how dominant Micah Parsons has been this season. And dominance has only grown over recent weeks. We have seen Micah go from an exciting first-round linebacker to a not really full-time, but to a premium pass rusher in the NFL who can also do a lot of freakish things in coverage or versus the run. And the Defensive Player of the Year talk has become official since last week, because last week, Micah Parsons was included for the first time in the betting world as an actual candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. And now it has gone from that last week to this week becoming mainstream talk, because now you're hearing about Micah Parsons as a candidate for the award in national media, in ESPN, Fox Sports. National media has picked this storyline up every day that goes by, more people are getting into the Lawrence Taylor conversation that we jumped into pretty early here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. So we are excited about this stuff. We're excited about this, and we need to talk about the numbers from Parsons compared with what and none other than Myles Garrett. Because if we're going to hype Micah Parsons up as an actual candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, we also need to compare him to the other candidates. Brian Doyle says Parsons is Lawrence Taylor, Mike Singletary, Aaron Donald, and Chris Jones wrapped up into one player. Charlene Evans saying that Odell Beckham Jr. has COVID-19. We will talk a little bit about the outbreak that we are seeing right now in the NFL. Richard says, turn it off until you don't like it. Oh, this is in response to this comment by Corpsey, who says, why does this foreign kid keep popping up on my phone? Let's translate that last word to phone. What I love about that comment is the fact that the thing that he takes issue with is the fact that I am foreign. So shout out to Corpsey. If you don't want to leave a like, you can click the mad button, the angry button, or the sad button before you leave. Do that for me. And of course, if you want to also share the show, that would also help Primetime a lot. Thank you to Corpsey for being here. And thank you for your guys' support in the Facebook chat. But when Parsons looked into the abyss, the abyss looked the other way. This is Werner account. I like that one as well. Anyways, let's jump into the numbers. I cannot wait anymore. So before we jump into them, here's my question from me to you guys. How would you rank right now, before we jump into the numbers, how would you rank Parsons, Watt, and Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year? If you have a preference, what would it be? Right now, how would you rank them headed into week 15? The top 3 candidates for Defensive Player of the Year, how would you rank them? Here's the thing, and I will share some numbers with you if you want to jump in. Burner account says, I'm gonna say this: if a rookie is getting compared to Lawrence Taylor, he should be the front runner. That is right. That is pretty accurate, in my opinion. Charlene Evans says that's tough. I'm going to share with you what my initial answer was without looking at the numbers. My initial answer was TJ Watt, because I believe that he's had some great moments like he did versus Baltimore when they got that win. And then I had Myles Garrett, and then I had Micah Parsons all the way down to number 3. And the process that I had for this was that these guys are full-time pass rushers and that they strike fear in opposing offenses. But I didn't have Parsons as my number 1. That was my original ranking. Richard says Parsons, Watt, Garrett. Jessica says Parsons, Garrett, then Watt. Stevie Mack, what is up, Stevie Mack? Thank you for being here as always. Parsons, Garrett, and Watt. So as you can see, everyone here in the chat is putting Micah Parsons at number 1. And I'm actually a little bit impressed by that. Let's jump into the numbers. Let's start by tackles for loss. If you take a look at tackles for loss, Micah Parsons is actually number 2 in the league. At 17 tackles for loss, Parsons ranks 2nd in the league. TJ Watt ranks 3rd with 16, and Myles Garrett ranks tied for 4th with 15 tackles for loss. So in that first important stat, Micah Parsons has the edge over both Garrett and both TJ Watt. And Manny Ramos is right when he says Garrett is just a beast, but he isn't as versatile as Parsons. Let's move on to sacks, because here is where Micah Parsons maybe drops a little bit in the rankings. Myles Garrett has 15. That is good for 2nd. TJ Watt actually leads the league with 16 sacks. No, excuse me. Myles Garrett has 15. That is 2nd in the league. And TJ Watt has 16. That is 1st in the league. Micah Parsons, an impressive 12. No rookie has ever sacked the quarterback more than 14.5 times. That is a record that Parsons, the linebacker, is pursuing right now in week 15. He is at 12. That ranks 7th in the league. So that might be a hit for Parsons' case in the conversation for voters. I think that voters will mind that a little bit. But then we get into quarterback hits, and I love this one because Myles Garrett is tied for first in the NFL with 28, and then Parsons and Watt at rank are tied for second with 27. So after those three first stats that we have mentioned, each one of them has an edge in each one of them, right? So Parsons has the edge on tackles for loss, and then TJ Watt has the edge on sacks, and then Myles Garrett has the edge on quarterback hits, right? There you go. Here's where it gets interesting, though. And here is where, to me, Micah Parsons is undoubtedly the defensive player of the year right now. There's still a lot of football left to be played. But right now, in my opinion, Micah Parsons is undoubtedly the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. And here is why. We mentioned those three key stats. Each one of them has a lead in a different stat. But we get to pressure rate, and that is a more accurate stat, a more accurate metric. Parsons right now, and these numbers are via True Media, which uses Pro Football Focus data. Parsons has a 22.3% pressure rate. That is number one in the NFL. Garrett is second, and Watt is third. Now, that is not right. Excuse me. This is among these three guys. Garrett is below Parsons, but he is at 15.9 in pressure rate. Parsons is 22.3. Think about that difference. And then TJ Watt is third between these guys at 14.5%. And Garrett and Watt are not second and third in the league, respectively. These guys are ranked lower than some other key players in the NFL that are not really in the conversation for DPOY. Maybe those percentages don't mean a lot for us as fans. Like, what does that really mean? Here's how they sound even more impressive. Parsons has 53 pressures. That ranks above TJ Watt, who has 41 pressures this season. Myles Garrett, let's give him that. He has the edge on Micah in terms of pressure because he sits at 59. So Garrett has 6 more quarterback pressures than Micah Parsons right now. 6 more quarterback pressures. Here's the thing, though. Myles Garrett has 134 more pressure snaps than Micah Parsons. And in those 134 additional opportunities that Myles Garrett has had to pressure the opposing quarterback, he only has 6 more than Micah Parsons. I find that insanely impressive. The fact that he has taken Garrett 134 more pressure snaps to have 6 more pressures than Micah, that to me is impressive. And TJ Watt, who is all the way down to 41 pressures in the season, he's actually had 45 more opportunities to sack the quarterback than Micah. That is insane. To me, that really represents why Micah is your defensive player of the year. Because the essence of these numbers basically means Micah is being a way more efficient pass rusher than Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. Yet, he can defend the run like these guys can't because he can play from the inside linebacker spot and defend the run. He can drop into coverage like an elite linebacker. He can do everything because he can do man-to-man coverage. He can do zone coverage. And we're not talking about necessarily about underneath typical linebacker coverage. We are talking about deep coverage down the seams as a Tampa 2 style linebacker. To me, it doesn't get any better than that. And I believe that the only thing keeping us from making Micah Parsons the clear-cut favorite right now, and I'm not saying that he has locked it up, because I believe that there's a lot of football left to be played. But looking at these numbers and the fact that he can do all of these additional things, the number one thing working against Micah Parsons is a bias against rookies. The fact that people don't want to give a rookie the Defensive Player of the Year award. There is a reason why it has only happened once in NFL history. It was none other than Lawrence Taylor. And just one more stat for you, because I believe that Garrett might be the guy that is the favorite right now in consensus for the entire nation and the betting world. There's one thing playing against Garrett, in my opinion, and it is that he has only one forced fumble, while TJ Watt has 4 and Parsons has 3. And the fact that Garrett has 1, that might play against him as well. I'm taking a flyer in Micah Parsons in the betting world. What is up, Orlando Jones? Watching us from ADC Nashville, checking in. Keep it up, Mauricio. Thank you to Orlando, and thank you to all of the ADC Sports Nashville people. You guys are great, and the shows are great over there as well, and the audience as well. Micah, says Ryan Doyle. Micah part deceased sons. John Hill says the difference maker is how effective Parsons is at so many different positions. He is the queen. Richard says that is the deciding factor right there. To me, that is. The fact that Micah has almost as many pressures than Garrett and more pressures than Watt, with significantly less opportunities to do so, that to me is also the deciding factor, as Richard is saying. That to me, man, Micah deserves this award, I believe. He can still lose it, or he can still win it, depending on what happens in the next following weeks. Because at the end of the day, there are still a lot of games to be played, 4 to be precise. Darn it, there are only 4 games left in the Cowboys season. That actually sucks. But yeah, Stevie Mack says, if Micah gets a pick 6, pretty big chance Sky strips naked and runs around Texas live. Just giving people a heads up just in case you're there. That would be something. We would need the footage of that, because maybe Sky will be shy and he will not want to put it on his stream in the morning show. But if Sky does that, then you can bet that we will play it here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime as well. Manny says Dan Quinn can get him that award down this stretch. Wait, do we call him Mean Mistreater, Home Wrecker, the Black Queen, King Kong, asks Burl Killer. I really don't know what an accurate nickname would be for Micah Parsons. Micah would probably have 18 to 20 sacks if he only rushed the passer, says Jesse Murphy. It could happen. And that is actually an argument that some people will make against Micah down the stretch. Some will say if he was rushing the passer more, then he would, the sample size would make him lower his pressure rate. To that, I would argue that Garrett's pressure rate and Watt's pressure rate was not as high a few weeks ago when they had the same pressure snaps as Parsons has right now. And if you take a look at only, week 9 till today, you will see the best numbers for Micah Parsons. And this has been the period in which Micah has been in this position way more often. And it has become maybe even his main position, right, in overall. So, yeah, I agree with Jesse with that as well. I don't think that when people are trying to put that against him, I don't think that it will be truly an argument against his case. It will be an argument for his case, in my opinion. Richard says, no, we got playoff games too, and that is right. But if we're talking about the awards, in case some of you guys are not aware of this, the voting for awards is done after the regular season. So once the regular season is all said and done, the votes come in, which is something that I like, because that way you eliminate any kind of recency bias in the playoffs. So the playoffs actually do not count at all for these awards. But yeah, in terms of, it sucking that we only have 4 games left, Richard is right. We do have more playoff games coming the Cowboys' way, and hopefully it's more than one. Hopefully it's more than one. We will see. Right now, we really don't know who will be the number 5 seed in the NFC. We don't even know if the Cowboys will remain the number 4 seed. last night's loss for the Cardinals will shake up the NFC pretty good, and it will be fun to watch. Gut Bomber says, bro, I said on a few of his videos before the draft that the Cowboys should get him if they can. I assume that Gut Bomber is talking about Parsons. I gotta confess, I was all in for the cornerbacks. I was all in for the cornerbacks in the draft process. And when we got to the 12th pick, I kind of wanted Rashawn Slater. But here's the thing. I was thinking, I didn't have, and this is something that I said on the shows as well, I didn't have a single doubt about Micah Parsons being a top-tier linebacker when he got into the NFL. But I thought that the positional value was maybe not great to draft a linebacker with the 10th overall pick before the Cowboys traded back to 12th. But the main reason why I'm eating crow right now is not because I doubted Micah's skill sets, because I really didn't, but I didn't expect him to have this role as a rookie for the Dallas Cowboys. And I definitely didn't expect him to do it all at the same time. Like if you had told me after week two, that, hey, we liked how Micah looked rushing the passer versus the Chargers, so we will keep him there, I would have believed you. But I wouldn't have believed that Micah was truly going to do it all in the NFL, because that is impressive. That is something that not a lot of players do. This is history, to be honest. Maybe he's not the first to do so, but he's one of the few in NFL history to be able to do so at this level. And he's only a rookie right now. He is only a rookie. If anybody saw Parsons play in college, says Ryan, you knew he was going to be a star. He has the best God-given talent I've seen at the linebacker position. His balance is off the charts. And we all loved watching Parsons. As Ryan is saying, if you watched Micah play at Penn State, you knew he was such a fun player. But I thought that, and the NFL for some reason still uses this term as a negative term, tweener, right? And people usually talk about these tweeners maybe not finding a home in the NFL. So maybe we thought not that Micah was going to be a tweener, but that Micah was going to find a home in a position in the league. The fact that he's been moving from one side to another is the thing that most impresses me. Did you guys see the stat? And I don't have this right now, but I'm going to say it for those of you who have not seen it. This came out, I believe, during Monday Night Football. Someone tweeted it out. I retweeted it. And in case you don't follow me, I'm at Mau NFL. That's MAU NFL. I tweet bilingually. I put a lot of stuff out in Twitter in Spanish. But you can hit that translate button, and usually you will get the right translations. And if you don't, you can ask me, and I for sure will get to you, and I will translate the tweet if you want to. So this is from Reddit Cowboys, actually, at Reddit Cowboys. And I'm going to read it word by word. Through 13 games, Micah Parsons has more sacks, tackles for loss, and QB hits than Khalil Mack had in his entire Defensive Player of the Year season in 2016. So if we're trying to raise Micah Parsons' odds in the betting world for Defensive Player of the Year, there's yet another example. He is better right now, and not in terms of rate, in terms of actual numbers. After only 13 games, he has better numbers in all of those stats than Khalil Mack did in 2016. When not only did he win the Defensive Player of the Year in 2016, he took the league by storm that year, if you remember that. Burner Account asks, Mo, who was the last Dallas Cowboy to win a major award? Major award, would that be MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year? Is that what we mean by major award? Because if Coach of the Year counts, you have Jason Garrett winning in 2016. Oh, Burner Account says that rookie awards count. So, yeah, that would be then 2016 Offensive Rookie of the Year. And it was Dak Prescott who won it. And we didn't know who was going to win it, whether it was him or Ezekiel Elliott. Those two were the finalists. And they both walked up to the stage and received it. And I thought that was awesome. MVP, OPOY, or DPOY is his burner account. I really don't know who was the last Cowboys to win one. Here's my best guess, though. DeMarcus Ware, when he had that amazing season, didn't he win Defensive Player of the Year? I really don't remember, though. If someone knows the answer to that question, I would appreciate it. Because if DeMarcus Lawrence didn't win it when he got all of those sacks, when he got over 20 sacks, then something would be wrong right there, right? Burner account says that James Harris won it that season. Whoa. 2016 was such an awesome year. Since God Bomber, I'll never forget that playoff game. It was so awesome. So James Harrison won it that year, the DeMarcus Ware year. So then what's the right answer to this question? I'm intrigued now. Cheryl says over on Facebook, what Parsons is doing this year is very rare, unprecedented. I agree with that. Jonathan Hill actually taking things one step further and saying, I believe Parsons in his rookie season is better than Lawrence Taylor was. Here's the thing about Lawrence Taylor, and this is not, you cannot criticize him for this because it is not his fault. It was just the era in which he played. But when Taylor came around in the 80s, you didn't see teams that were prepared for him at all. It is like when Joe Montana and the 49ers took over the league with the West Coast offense, defenses were not prepared for that. West Coast was not burned in San Francisco, but it was popularized there, and defenses were clearly not ready for it. And that is different, right? Because that is a scheme that is new. And with Taylor we have never seen an athlete like that in the NFL, and teams literally started to get more athletic offensive tackles because of Lawrence Taylor. And he was the first full-time hybrid defensive end / linebacker. We have talked about it on the show. He was not the first one, the first hybrid defensive end / linebacker. He was the first full-time one. He was the first player that came around in football that the team, in this case, the New York Giants, figured out, wait, we don't need to play him only in passing situations. We can actually use him in every single down. And that is how Lawrence Taylor became Lawrence Taylor. So it's too early to know what the future holds for Micah, but he's off to a good start. He's off to a good start. Richard says, how do Parsons' stats compare with Taylor's when he got Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie? I know that at least in terms of sacks, Micah is well past Taylor because Taylor had about 9 or 9.5. I don't know about tackles for loss, though, and I don't know how accurate they would be because didn't sacks start being tracked in 1986, I believe, and that was actually after Taylor's rookie season. But yeah, how old is Micah? Asks James Misht. Is Micah, what could he be? That's a good question. I'm going to Google him real quick to let you know for sure. He's 22 years old. Damn it. Micah Parsons. Does not host a live show on Facebook and YouTube. So I can tell you that I have been more successful than Micah Parsons in my 22 years of age. But yeah, he's about 2 months older than me. Ravenous Lion. Ooh, I like that. I like that one because I love the ravenous word. That is a top tier elite word. Parsons is 22, lagging, but I think it was just a super quick issue and we're back to normal. Burner account says Goff, Wentz, Lynch, Cook, Hackenberg, Andy Kessler is all I can remember. Are we talking about the 2016 quarterbacks here? Is burner account throwing shade at some other teams? We were so close. We were so close to getting Paxton Lynch as our quarterback. So, man, that's one sad what if in Cowboys history. Anyways, we needed to talk about Micah Parsons on tonight's show. Before I leave you guys, just a quick update on the NFL. COVID-19 is hitting the league, and it is hitting it hard. According to Adam Schefter's report from earlier today, the NFL now has had 75 players test positive for COVID-19 the past 2 days. And that is a little bit concerning, because when it is as this many players, you start wondering whether or not we will see the possibility of maybe some games being rescheduled or not. Hopefully that is not the case. Hopefully we do not go back to what happened in 2020 with some of these games that were adjusted. I don't think that will happen this time around because of the vaccine. I don't know whether that's right or wrong. I just think that it won't happen. But then there was this other news that is important, that the NFL will require Tier 1 and Tier 2 personnel to get the booster shot in order to be, under the same rules or protocol that they are right now. So they need to get the booster shot in order to remain on the same protocols as they are. If not, they will start counting basically like a non-vaccinated player. And last but not least, before I leave you, just one more question from me to you guys. Early reaction to the betting spread. Who do you think covers next Sunday? And tomorrow night, someone asked, I'm sorry that I didn't get to that question, but someone asked earlier tonight that what did I make of the Cowboys-Giants game? We'll talk more about it tomorrow for sure. Maybe we'll know more about the quarterback situation. But what is your early reaction to the betting spread? Who do you think covers, the Cowboys or the Giants? It is at minus 10.5 for the Cowboys. They are heavy favorites in this one. A little bit more than 10 points. Right now, I am leaning towards the Cowboys. Not only as, and this is a little bit similar to what I said last week versus Washington, but this is, I think that the Cowboys cover, not only because I believe that the Cowboys have a perfect opportunity to bounce back on offense, but also as a little bit of a fade on the Giants, who are dealing with a lot of stuff. People have talked about the quarterback injuries, but I would also point out towards some of their stars that have not been working. How about Kenny Golladay? I think that he had 8 targets on Sunday. He only had 2 receptions. So even the stars of the Giants are actually struggling right now. Thank you to Peter. Thank you to Kenneth. And thank you to all of you guys. Cowboys. Everyone is voting for the Cowboys covering the spread on this one. Seems a bit large for a struggling offense's burner account. And I think so too. But this is the New York Giants. They don't get any pressure in. And they're dealing with some injuries. We talked about Williams dealing with that injury. Ryan asks, and this is my last one from today. Just quickly, I will mention that Jessica also goes with the Cowboys. James as well. Peter also. Joshua Davis. Kenneth Fraser says, I think it will be a 2-possession game, Dallas. Richard also says, Cowboys by 10 for sure, 28-14. Ryan says, Mauricio, what is your favorite Mexican dish for a Sunday night football game? Hey, it will sound mainstream, but tacos. And I'm talking about tacos al pastor, right? So how does that translate? How does that translate in English? Like, do you guys call it pork tacos? But it's not like, barbecue kind of pork. I'm talking about al pastor. I don't know if there's a translation for that, or if you guys also talk about that. Because here's the thing, I like those tacos for dinner. So if we're talking Sunday night football, I need tacos al pastor. Because bistec tacos, I love them. Steak tacos. But those to me are more for lunch, maybe, not that much for dinner. So yeah. But also montados. Montados are my breakfast and also my lunch. Yeah, I love montados, but those are, characteristic here in Chihuahua. Man, what sick bastard doesn't like tacos? Says burner account. I don't know. But if you guys do, let me know and I will block you from ADC Sport. I'm kidding. Barrel Killer says, ever find Aujitamo? No, I forgot to check. But that will be my homework for tonight. I promise that I will check. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me. Hope you have a great Tuesday night. Hope you enjoy. And tomorrow, I will see you for an early look at the Giants-Cowboys matchup. And I will see you also to to talk about one cool thing. So start thinking about it. I already have mine, so I'm excited about that as well. Thank you, guys, and I will see you tomorrow night. My name is Mauricio Rodriguez, your primetime host. I will see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central. Thank you, guys. Hit the like